I think it's best to maybe just have a quick look, a glance ahead, just briefly on what's coming for Manchester City, because this is a goalkeeper who's had 8 clean sheets now in the Champions League from 12 appearances, and that's Andre Onana, and also the 3 centre-backs in front of them, which most likely will be a 5 with the way that Dumfries and DiMarco play. They play as a 5-man backline. Certainly that's the way they played for a majority of that game against AC Milan. Then they break when they have the ball. This is a very defensive-minded but very dangerous offensive team that Inter Milan has, and it's not going to be easy for Manchester City. However, you would expect City to pretty much dominate the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I know Mike last night said that Inter Milan were favourites. I suspect he might want to reassess that. And I said I just think Inter have a chance. I'm now kind of what's below chance, a shot or something like
that. You are ruthless.
But then, I don't want to be like I have written in my column. I'm not kind of willing to say that in the Champions League, because maybe the hang-ups that you totally didn't feel were there tonight, maybe they emerge in Istanbul. Maybe there are other things, and maybe Inter Milan, if Inter Milan deliver the greatest collective performance Inter Milan have ever delivered, and City are off colour, that's how Inter Milan win it. I don't want to set unreasonable demands of Inter Milan, but just play, each of you individually and collectively, the greatest football match you have and played and ever will play, and then you've got a chance. And that's it.
Mike.
So I just want to set the record straight. I did not say that they were favorites. I said they were going to win, though. I said that they're the underdogs, and they love it. Don't put that in your column, James. Please don't, because I don't want to get just crapped on by so many people from around the world.
It's already in. Sorry. It's already gone to print.
I think I said it maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I cannot wait for this final, because I hope, given this City performance, it was – a certainty in my mind. Now it's becoming an absolute prayer. Get your rosary beads out, because this could be the time that we see Romelu Lukaku have his greatest moment in an Inter jersey. He's going to have to. The whole team, as you said, James, collectively will have to. The collective nature of how Inter are playing, that could be the strength that goes up against this City team. Right now, it's really hard to see City, given the momentum that they've built, losing any sort of game, let alone a final. But it's a one-off. Inter Milan are a cup team. It's a one-off, and you can't sleep on Inter in cup finals. They are pretty good.
Mike, this is one of the best teams I think I've ever seen play football, Manchester City. And I think if they do get that one Champions League, we could be looking at a domination for a very long time from this Manchester City club. And the way that they bring players into the club, the way that they rotate players out of the football club, the way they stick by players, the way they have these fresh players off the bench who can just win games for you, the way that they come up against a challenge and are ready to go. They are, in my opinion, the best team in Europe right now. So I'll find it very hard to think that Inter can have a sniff. However, the only thing I will say against Manchester City is that their away record, if you look at, they draw a lot of games on the road in the Champions League. They have drawn a lot of games on the road. And of course, they're not playing the Champions League final on home soil. It's going to be an interesting one for them, but I just don't, in my personal opinion, Manchester City far too good. I'll be surprised if City don't score 3 in the final. That's as far as I'm going. And I understand. I get Onana's record of clean sheets. I mentioned before 8 from the 12. I get it, how well organized Inter are, but this is something that Inter have not faced yet. They've gone the easier route to the final. We can't deny that, Mike. They've gone the easier route on the bracket to get to the final. You're playing against the Portuguese teams. Then you obviously get a Milan side that you've dominated domestically for a long time to get to the final. Now you're coming up against a team that's just blown past the best that there is in this competition. Yeah, so I just don't see it. Go ahead, Mike.
Ian, this is the Champions League final. This is where just upsets are made to happen. I want to go back to the last time, one of the last times the Champions League final was in Istanbul. English team versus Italian opposition, the tables were turned. And what were we saying about the Milan side of 05? Unbeatable. Liverpool aren't going to have a chance in hell against this Milan side. This is a final. And you can't sleep on Inter. I know that we're saying City, on paper, City, I mean, they're going to wipe the floor with them. But
so are you brave enough to give me a prediction right now then? Are you brave enough to give that prediction right now?
Absolutely. I will give you one. Inter Milan are going to win the Champions League 2-1. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be either extra time or on penalty kicks. Inter are going to win. I've said
James
it.
almost fell off his chair. James,
Come on.
how
Lay it
can
on
you
me,
watch
James.
that performance? How can you watch that performance and then say that? I don't. It's beyond me, Mike.
Do you
Go
think,
ahead.
if you're Simone Inzaghi, do you think he would even like? Can you stop them watching that game? Like when it's like when
pull the plug?
Bernardo scores the second, just text
Yeah,
everyone and go,
turn it
turn
off.
your TVs off now. I think I like you. I would say 3-0 City.
Oh,
They're just so much better.
come on, guys.
So much
please.
better. So much better. All right, real quickly before we do go to break, let's discuss the bosses here. We'll start with Pep Guardiola, obviously. After having this type of success, producer Des has put some notes here in for me with a semi-final record, eliminating Chelsea with Barca, eliminating Real Madrid with Barca, eliminating PSG with Barca, with Manchester City in 21, and then obviously eliminated Real Madrid. And he has had a lot of heartbreak against who have I got here? Chelsea, Real Madrid, and then Atleti, Barca when he was at Bayern, then Real Madrid last year, obviously. So there has been a lot of heartbreak, and this is the one that there's no doubt that City Football Group want. This is what they want, James. City Football Group are chasing the Champions League. Premier League, I get it. Domestic treble, I get it. But they, in my opinion, would throw all of their dices, all of their checkers, whatever it is, into winning the Champions League and forgetting everything else.
The only thing that intrigues me is it all is a bit kind of unspoken, and you sort of everyone whispers about it, is whether this becomes Pep's moment to ride off into the sunset on a treble. We know he's someone that, doesn't feel like he has to stay forever. I don't buy it. I mean, partly, I just don't see another club or another job, including national teams out there that would appeal to him anymore. I think this season would maybe be his crowning glory. I mean, it's hard because what he achieved at Barcelona is just redefined modern football, and this is basically, Pep to an extent is Pep on easy mode, with everything set up for him. But to build a club that were nothing. I mean, they had deep European runs before Guardiola, but they weren't a force. I don't think he's going to rush to go. I remember interviewing him before the last final, and even now when you see him, he seems like he's enjoying the work.
Yes.
And why, when you've worked so hard to build the next City team with Grealish, with Foden, with Haaland, with Diaz,
yes.
why on earth would you want to? Why on earth would you want to leave them to someone else?
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it, especially if they win. This reminds me of the New England Patriots, for you NFL fans out there. When they beat Atlanta in the Super Bowl, I remember hearing a story of Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, the whole group getting into a room and saying, hey, if one of us leaves, we all leave. Belichick saying, I'm not retiring, I'm staying. And they go on to have more success. The ship is just getting right in the Champions League by Pep Guardiola, and I don't see them. The only job. I'm not even going to go there. I was going to say, why not want to work with Florian Balogun, but I'm not going to look like a mug. I already sound like a mug. I know. I already sound like a mug saying Inter are going to win, so I'll stop there.
Just one thing to say as well. Who are Pep Guardiola's great heroes? Tiger Woods didn't really settle for one major, did he? Michael Jordan, Mr. Three-peat. Julia Roberts, he'll be looking at that. He'll be thinking what Julia Roberts achieved in the late 90s and early noughties, top of the box office. Oscars left, right, and center. She didn't stop on one. She might only have won one for Erin Brockovich, but you know what I mean. Julia Roberts did not settle for Pretty Woman.
She's won like 4 or 5.
Pretty Woman. Yeah, exactly. She didn't say Pretty Woman, I'm out. She went, get me Erin Brockovich, get me Ocean's 11. I think Pep Guardiola is going to be very motivated to enjoy himself over the next few years.